IPOB Rapture Media detonates a truth bomb the powerful want buried. I'm about to show you the most insane double standard in the entire world. In Nigeria, they are persecuting a man for warning about terrorists, but the guy who literally negotiates with them is walking free. This isn't a theory. These are facts. And today we are blowing the lid off a secret the government wants to bury forever. Get this. Man number 1, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has been convicted on terrorism charges and sentenced to life in prison. His crime? Talking on the radio and telling people to defend themselves. Now meet man number 2, Sheikh Gumi. This guy chills with violent bandits, shakes their hands, and is basically their personal hype man. So why was man number 1 put in a cage while man number 2 is treated like a VIP? This is the craziest injustice I have ever seen. The case file on Sheikh Gumi. I'm going to show you 3 exhibits that will blow your mind. Exhibit A. His link to global terror. Long before Gumi was defending bandits in Nigeria, he was a person of interest in a global terror investigation. In 2010, Sheikh Gumi was arrested in Saudi Arabia at the request of the United States government. Why? Because American intelligence discovered he was exchanging emails with Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalib, the infamous underwear bomber, right before he tried to blow up a plane over Detroit on Christmas Day 2009. While Gumi was eventually released after the Nigerian government intervened, the fact remains he was communicating with an Al-Qaeda-trained terrorist who attempted to murder 289 people. Exhibit B. He defends killers. What does Sheikh Gumi do now? He literally goes on TV to defend these guys. He said we need a non-kinetic approach. That's just a fancy way for saying we should let them get away with it. He's trying to make kidnapping and killing sound like a legitimate grievance. Think about that. One man is a terrorist for demanding freedom, but this guy is on TV demanding we understand people who kill innocent Nigerians. Exhibit C. He wants to pay them and is completely untouchable. Gumi's mission is to get amnesty and special deals for the men who turned the Northwest into a literal war zone. For years, he has met these armed groups in their forest hideouts, taking pictures with them while they hold massive weapons. The government sometimes calls him in for questioning, but it's 100% for show. Nothing ever happens. He's never been charged for hanging out with wanted criminals, the same guys abducting school children. Yet Gumi wants you to think they just need a second chance and some cash. This is the man who walks free. Now wait until you see what they did to the man they put in a cage. The prophecy and persecution of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. For 10 years on Radio Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was screaming, warning everyone that these so-called bandits were an invading army and that the government was in on it. He told anyone who would listen that the government's failure to stop them wasn't weakness. It was part of the plan. They called him crazy and a warmonger. They banned his entire organization, IPOB, calling it a terrorist group for speaking the truth. When his people were getting slaughtered on their own farms with zero help from the government, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu created the Eastern Security Network, ESN, as a last resort to protect them. And for that, they condemned him. The same government that couldn't stop the killers sent its army to stop the people trying to defend themselves. His persecution has reached its conclusion. After being kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned back to Nigeria, his trial for his life is joke. The charges were insane. How can you judge a man in a criminal case without any written law? Charged on terrorism for his radio broadcasts and for leading IPOB. They twisted his words of warning into threats and called self-defense terrorism. He has now been convicted and sentenced to life in prison. This is the most backward situation ever. One man, Gumi, with documented links to a global terrorist, physically meets with and defends armed groups and gets called a mediator. Another man, Kanu, warns about those exact same groups, gets called a terrorist, and is now jailed for life. This proves that in Nigeria, the real crime isn't committing terror, it's exposing the terrorists and the powerful people who support them, the truth they want buried. So you have to be asking, why? Why is Gumi protected? Why was Kanu persecuted? I'm about to tell you the biggest, most suppressed secret in Nigeria today. This chaos isn't an accident. It's a strategy. The theory is the government isn't failing to stop the bandits. It's using them. These armed groups are a tool to create so much fear that it justifies a massive military presence, not to fight terror, but to occupy land and control everyone. Sheikh Gumi is a key part of this plan. He's the guy who makes the terrorists seem normal. He distracts everyone with talk about dialogue and amnesty, while the real agenda of occupation continues behind the scenes. He's useful because he gives the government cover for doing nothing. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a massive threat to this strategy. He refused to be silent. He exposed the so-called banditry for what it really was, a violent takeover. And most dangerously for them, he organized his people to defend themselves with the ESN. That's why he had to be silenced. A man who just talks to terrorists is a useful pawn. But a man who awakens the people and gives them the courage to stand up is a direct threat they had to eliminate. Kanu's trial was never about law, it was about silencing a prophet. Keeping Gumi free isn't about peace, it's about protecting a valuable player in their game of chaos. The truth is simple. IPOB and the ESN are the only things standing in the way of this state-sponsored terror. You've seen the evidence, you've seen the disgusting hypocrisy. In Nigeria, a man who sits with terrorists walks free, while the man who warned the world about them has been sentenced to life behind bars. This is the truth the Nigerian government and its media allies have tried to bury. They want you to believe Kanu is the villain and Gumi is just a concerned cleric. But the facts are undeniable. They have locked away Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's body, but they can't lock up his message. They can't silence his truth as long as we refuse to be quiet. Our leader's decade-long fight is now our fight. And this is where you come in. The powerful are counting on your silence. The mainstream media will never tell this story. It's up to you to be the media. I am challenging every single person watching to share this video on every platform you can. Send it on WhatsApp, post it on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Download it and re-upload it. Let's make this message echo across the entire globe. Let's show them we see exactly what they're hiding. Let's show them that prosecuting one man only creates millions of others who will carry his message. Become the media. Spread the truth. Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now. If you found this useful, like, share, and comment respectfully with your perspective to IPOB Rapture Media. Subscribe for more clear, fact-led explainers.